Warning. The JamBoy Podcast, much like a submarine, contains excessive amounts of explicit language and our own personal feelings and opinions about many experiences and circumstances that do not represent those of the United States Navy, any command, or other individuals. Where legally pertinent, it is safe to assume that all stories told herein are completely fictional or dramatically embellished. This podcast is meant to entertain and give insight into the thoughts and actions of nuclear-trained Navy submariners during some of the most physically and mentally grueling times they've ever experienced. Please enjoy, and if you'd like to support us, please consider subscribing.
I did not recruit extraordinary people. I recruited people who had extraordinary potential, and then I trained them.
How many have you had?
11!
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning?
Say that one more time. I'm not gonna throw up all wet. I swear, sharp.
No, I got called in. I knew my fucking boss was out to get me since she came back from her surgery because I kind of made her worthless.
Yeah, I can't do that.
She came back and she was like, while I was gone, all these. Mind you, this is what she fucking sounds like. This fucking fucking smoker. But she was like, when I came back, everyone was like, "I'm so glad to have you back." We did not like the way Michael was running the department. And it's like, mind you, we were like hitting record revenue months. And our North American director didn't even know that she was out on medical for the first month she was gone. I came into work Tuesday and
As in, like, the Tuesday we just had?
like today's Thursday.
Yeah, like
Tuesday.
So 2 days ago.
You're going to be the featured Jamboy of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Monday, business as usual. Tuesday, I get called into a meeting with the HR guy and my boss. And I was like, what are we doing?
That's never good.
And Aaron
That's
goes, he was like, hey, we're going over, because it is time for our performance reviews. I was like, oh, thank God. I thought you guys were going to fire me.
Oh, man.
And he was like,
oh, no.
so what happened was back in November, I do these audits to verify traceability for fiber optic testing. So I do these random audits. You would think that some crucial piece of fucking OQE would be kept somewhere outside of Excel 2012, but it's not. So you've got a bunch of different folders saved in an Excel file. And here's how you update a new month. You fucking save as, copy, and then change the date, and then go back and wipe the old data. So either way, November and December, there's a data discrepancy because the data wasn't there. So
And that
was
was
like,
why you got fired.
Yeah.
In March.
Well, yeah, in March. My CEO just finally got indicted.
Oh, shit.
And he's going to do jail time for embezzling millions of dollars out of the company to build a beach house in Kiowa.
Right on South Carolina.
He was just like, fuck it. Let's just keep
kidding, dude.
Let's just take a few miles away. It's been a very weird experience. And I almost feel like a burden has been lifted off of me because I'll be honest, I've had this job since the month after I got out. So like, I think it was like 3 weeks after my official last day of the Navy, I started this job. And dude, I was more stressed out in these last 2.5 years than I have been at any point in any underway
Really?
scenario. Oh, absolutely.
Fuck that.
It's just so fucking stressful, and it's all self-created. It's all self-generated by the people around. So
that's horrible.
And I did not have the balls to quit. And my wife and I talked about it, like, because I'm going to school.
Are you getting a severance package?
No.
Oh, dude. What?
Yeah, no.
Because it was with cause?
It was with cause, but without fucking formal backup because my boss that's supposed to review it caught it in March versus November. Either way, I knew I was getting headhunted on the way out, but I just didn't think that this was how it was going to go. But yeah,
You're JamBoy of the month, dude. No doubt.
JamBoy. Yeah,
Dang.
naturally you've got to freak out about like, well, we have 2 kids. We've got no income now, but we've been very smart with our money.
Yeah,
and so
you
we
guys,
did the
You're only
math.
spending your money on laser jetted weather
Pelicans.
vanes.
Hey, stop! I don't have any other hobbies anymore. This is my fucking thing, and I bought this while I had a job. So
What do you want to do next?
I might just pick up a fucking fun job.
Yeah, why not?
Driving
Go back
range.
to work for Planet Fitness.
Driving range. No, well, I don't want to do that because that involves me having to fucking like work out or something.
Driving range would
No,
be cool.
the driving range is hiring. I'm pretty sure. The ice skating rink looking for someone to wipe water and ice off of fucking skates and monitor and blow a whistle.
Maybe you could work your way up to Zamboni driver.
You get to wear
Dude,
a
that'd
referee
be actually
shirt if
fucking
you do that
sick.
job?
You just gotta wear like a red jacket.
Oh, that's too bad. I like
know,
how
we're
all
the-
the roller skating rinks, those dudes are like, it's their job to
The
like
hardos?
lower- Yeah,
The skating
that-
hardos.
it's their job to fucking lower the limbo bar, and they're wearing referee outfits like it fucking matters.
They have a singular Zamboni that monitors, like I think they have 3 rinks in the building. And when it comes time for them to come out, that thing is busted.
Oh, really?
So it's always, oh yeah, it does not run well. And I was like, dude, that'd be easy for me to go in and be like, you guys need a Zamboni guy? Like
Yeah, true.
I got some free time. You know?
There's no better introduction to the JamBoy podcast than
There
getting
isn't.
fired.
It's
3 days
on.
ago.
Yeah,
I
that's
just got
awesome.
fired because my wife was like, "Are you how are you going to explain to people?" And I was like, "I'm just going to tell them I got fucking fired because that's what happened."
Yeah.
Well, technically, I was terminated. I wasn't fired because there's a difference apparently.
Well, that sounds worse.
I know that's what I said. I was like,
You're gonna
"Sounds
be
like
able, you'll be able to apply. You'll get unemployment, right?
because it was like not because it was misconduct, but because of like,
Oh, I see. Like,
you know what I mean?
performance or something?
Like an honest mistake.
Yeah,
I don't
I-
get it, dude.
I think
'cause,
they-
like, bro, we had a guy in Salt Lake City who continually like either didn't show up or showed up late or like just behaved in a manner that was like wildly
Your audio-
unprofessional.
Your audio is haunted.
What do you mean? What? What's wrong with my audio?
Like every
the
5th
frog
word
in
it
the
goes.
background.
Oh, we don't like that.
Hit him with the
It's
tool
that.
time. I know what you're saying, Clay, and I've
It's
seen
hard to
it
fire
too.
people, dude.
It is-
They like could not get rid of him,
Well, that's the thing.
and he couldn't pass a drug test, so he couldn't get on customer work sites. Like it was a nightmare.
Yeah,
That's the
so
only
that's
consequence
And
for
then they
that?
cut him like a $40,000 check to like go away.
well, that's the thing, Clay. Was that a federal job?
No,
And it was like a private commercial, or was it just a private company?
yeah. Like big corporate, evil
Yeah.
corporate.
Big evil corporate. So here's the
Well,
deal.
not evil, but maybe.
You-
Probably.
I know what you mean. They all are. Depending on how big they are. The whole deal with the way that system works is if you don't really want to get rid of a guy and you don't want to deal with the HR hassle, you don't have to. You can just let him continue to be a fuck up and keep him on payroll. Or you can
Mhm.
take a large sum of money and hand it to them and tell them to fuck off.
Or
But
they
if
can
they
do
really-
neither in your case.
Yeah, they can do neither and they really want me to leave for whatever reason.
Just say fuck off with no money.
Yes. So I feel nice and
Mikey,
at
I have a
peace.
question for you though.
Yeah.
Did they let you keep the jam?
The gym.
The jam.
The
The
jam?
jam.
Oh, they let me keep many gallons of delicious jams and jellies.
Yeah. Well, now that that's out of the way, let me introduce this. It's the JamBoy Podcast, a branch off the Too Fast, Too Fast. I'm not sure when exactly this is going to come out because I got to like make our intro song and all that shit. But we know Mike and Lucas already, but Clay is new to the group
Hello.
of Naked in the Engine Room fame.
Oh yeah, that happened. That's me.
And, I think we'll probably tell that story at some point. But anyway, this is just kind of a bullshit session. I've been going through all my old Facebook messages to see if there's any funny pictures or anything that I needed for building the intro. And I just wanted to say, I didn't appreciate at the time, and I had forgotten how good at cyberbullying submariners are.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like next level, incredible cyberbullying. I have
Go
many
ahead.
examples. I sent a message to RC Div and said, "Hey guys, I have to pick my sister up from the airport tomorrow. I'll be gone after lunch. Let me know if you need me." And then one by one, they sent a thumbs up, a full size thumbs up, and then everyone else in the division thumbs up their thumbs up. So like Nick sent a thumbs up, and then everybody thumbs up it, and then the next person sent a thumbs up, and everybody thumbs up it. And then Bryce, who was pretty new at the time, sent one, and every single person thumbs down his thumbs up. It's just like so unnecessary.
I
That's
thought we
one
were
of
going to
them.
talk about some of the underway email.
Oh yeah.
Underway email stuff is what I thought you were referring to.
Well, those are excellent also. Underway
Yeah.
emails are like, what is it? They're like, they're disguised as formal, and they're just like savagely rude.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find another one. I do have a screenshot of when Bryce and Potato were unreasonably put on watch together for a mid-watch and tripped the motor generator and got removed. And then everyone from RC Div said they couldn't come in because they were drunk. So 2 of the junior C-Divers had to go in because they were the only ones sober. And then, what's this one? I was hosting the Super Bowl. Jake said, "I can come. Is it okay if my 3-year-old comes?" And Seth, old Bobby, said, "Only if he brings his own liquor." Yeah, those are the ones I've come across so far that I think are really good. Oh, and Marco got appendicitis.
Oh, that
And,
one was.
And someone said,
Marco
"What a bitch."
had a tough time. His
Someone
whole
said-
submarine time was pretty tough.
Someone said, "What a bitch," and he said, "I can't hear you. I can't hear you over never working on submarines again, you cuck."
Dude, Marco, I very vividly remember that because he was outboard the port main engine, just kind of hugging a rail,
Yeah.
and he was like, "I think something's wrong," and I was like,
So
"Where is it?"
Our
And he was like,
corpsman
"Oh,
said, "You probably got
right here."
gas."
He's like, "You just got gas," and I was like, "Bro, I think you have appendicitis. You really need to go get help."
Yeah.
And then he laid on the barge. Like, didn't he stay like until
Oh, he
very,
stayed for a
very,
long
very
time.
late?
Yeah. he
And then
stayed
they
for
were
a
like,
long time.
"You
And
have
then
gas."
later in that message chain, who was with him? Cleveland, maybe? Whoever was with him at the hospital sent a picture of him in a gown, and the only response was, "He looks really comfortable in a dress." That was it.
I think it was me. Why do I think I took him to the hospital?
It could have been you.
I need to find that.
But yeah, that was the
He looks comfortable in a dress.
So I had forgotten how clever and hateful everybody was at the time.
Well, that's all we have.
Yeah,
You know,
We
exactly.
were spiteful, to say the
Very.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thrived in that environment of hate and just one-off comments that just ruin someone's whole fucking day.
Do you ever find yourself now like it almost leaps out, and then you're like, "Oh, never mind."
You got to reel it back.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
I haven't been very proud of like when we're doing the other show and Joe will be like, "Yeah, I remember when I first showed up to the boat and Kenny did this and this." I'm like, "Dude, what a dickhead." He like messed up a comm over the white rat, and I like immediately picked up the phone and screamed at him instead of just like letting him fix it. Why?
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Just full of rage.
Yeah, it's everything had to be anger.
Oh, I snapped on people for nothing.
Yeah,
I still do that sometimes. That's my toxic trait.
I've gotten better about that, but also I work in a much less toxic work environment now,
Yeah.
and I never leave my house. I work from home, so I don't really have that much to be stressed out about.
I was never like, I don't think so. Like outright mean at people on the boat. I was just passive aggressive. That was my
Most
thing.
passive aggressive. Yeah, nice.
Yes.
Nice. I
Yeah.
like it though.
Because you were the good pawn. There was nothing to be upset about.
There's nothing to ever
No,
be
I
upset
was
about.
plenty upset.
Oh, he's stuttering. He's already getting fucking defensive.
You know what's funny?
He's already
Hold on,
stuttering.
hold on.
I tried to make my Discord name the Good Pawn, and it was already taken.
It was?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I guess someone had it better than you did somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old petty officer of the Navy. That was you were on quite a run.
I honestly still am.
That makes sense.
Good Deal Pedos for the Navy was such a funny just creation out of your fucking dumb skull underway.
Yeah.
There was lots of those. I was just remembering, I told Amber the story not long ago, maybe like 3 or 4 days ago, about when we were all nubs on Sparkle Team. And I don't know who, probably Kyle, but he was like, yo, I'm tired of this whole like chain of command shit. This should be run like Game of Thrones. Yeah. And we were like, well, what do you want to be? And he was like, I want to be master of coin.
Yeah.
We're like, dude, there's no coins. And he's like, all right, I'll be master of corn.
Master of corn.
So then every time they would serve corn, he'd be like, did you ask for that?
Did you get permission?
Yeah. Did you ask Master Corn if you could have some?
I remember when coined the term Spite Sniper.
Marcus.
Ah, dang it, Marcus.
Yeah. Spite Sniper.
Yeah.
Who was that about? Was that for you?
Yeah, I was a Spite
You were
Sniper.
the Spite Sniper?
And I remember the exact moment. It was on a Friday afternoon, about 8 a.m., because what happened to 8 a.m.?
Field day, bitches.
Field day. Guess who was not there?
Jimmy.
Nope. He's in this lobby right now.
Okay. Oh, Mike wasn't there?
Mike wasn't there. And I asked Chief Maurice, and I was like, hey, where's Mikey at? Oh, he forgot his boots at home. And I was like, of course he left his boots at home on Friday after PT. How convenient. Oh, and he lives in Newington. He has to drive 35 minutes. It sounds like he'll be home right after freaking field day's over.
Yeah.
So then I wrote this long sticky note, and I was like, hey, Maurice, like, thanks so much for being my best bud and like always having my back. And like all this like stuff about how much they were bros and got hooked up, and I signed it, Mikey. And I left it right on his desk. And that was when Marcus was sitting there. He's like, you're so spiteful.
There it was.
Spite Sniper.
It is very funny because I feel like the good pun kind of arose from Mike getting lots of good deals. And yet we just turned it around that you were always getting good deals.
Yeah. Mikey was originally the good pawn, and he would always try and play like this cat and mouse game.
Yeah, like guys, I'm getting fucked, okay? It doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm getting fucked.
The reason it never worked on me, I saw right through his schemes, is because he would take on all these collateral duties, and then he would complain about it.
Well, Mike was the original, like Conor McGregor 2-division champ. He was 2-division LPO.
The original BMF.
Yeah, BMF. That's pretty much what lead ELT is. You're not a real LPO. You're not a champion. You're just BMF. You know, we'll give you a belt.
But yeah, Lucas acted like that. I was like, oh, I need these collateral duties so I can make it look better. When in actuality, they were like, hey, so you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna be cool with it. And then I had to just, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing one of them.
Yeah, I know. That's what pissed me off.
0 the whole time.
You were never even small valve?
I was something. I was like some stupid like update.
He was
binder.
Bearing log. He was the fucking bearing log guy. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It was like a program that existed but had 0 impact and no work required.
Bearing log.
Yeah,
that's how.
But it would always get fucked up on every inspection for sure.
Exactly.
Oh,
probably. Yeah. But it was like nobody cared.
Yeah, they just be like, that was before me. I don't know. Probably Jimmy.
Yeah. I'm considering all of the moments where someone was turned into a Jamboy of sorts for any possible reason.
Oh, daily.
Who kind of took over our staple positions once we left? Because we all left around the same time. Does anyone have any follow through of?
Lane took over from me when I left.
Sad boy Lane.
And I wound up seeing him again in Saratoga Springs a couple years later.
Him and Dwayne and Jacob all.
And he said honestly, like deployment went well. They didn't have any trouble.
That seemed to be the consensus. Everybody said it at the time.
You know,
they're welcome.
I was like, but you guys got fucked by COVID though.
True.
He's like, yeah, that sucked too, but it was deployment. What are you gonna do?
They pulled into Japan. They were underway for like 80 days straight, and then pulled into Japan to COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that be kind of fucking
They were going to go to Port Call in Australia, I think. in like Perth or.
Hey, you remember all the cool shit we were gonna do?
Yeah, they were gonna go to Australia.
Yeah.
We were gonna
Remember
go to
when I
spring
had a
break
Bahama
in
Mama
Florida.
vacation that was planned and then that got canceled?
Everything got canceled. That's what I'm saying. There was no
Yeah,
COVID
we
to
were
bail them
supposed
out
to pull
either.
into the Bahamas, and I was gonna fly my now wife out to the fucking sands, and then we ended up in.
And he was gonna rent a bunch of jet skis.
Yeah, we were like, dude, this is gonna be so fucking sick, and then we end up trying to dodge fucking ringworm lobsters.
Yeah,
Well, I
ringworm
remember
sharks.
we're like at the hatch, and Kenny and you were talking about like all these awesome, like we're about to go to like the 4 stars or
Yeah.
4 seasons.
Yeah, it's like
And
a
this
cruise
guy-
ship port
This
call.
guy
is what we
was
thought.
like, "Hey, you guys ever been here before?" No, yeah, it sucks.
I remember
Still-
once we
still
got on that
better
barge.
than Autech.
It was better than Sound Trials, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Wait, I
When
was
we
gonna
got
say,
on
there
the
was gonna
barge.
be, like a legit Jamboy post us leaving. Remember DJ Remix? He took on.
He stayed. How long was he there after we left?
Well, because we were all leaving at the same time, they said one of you has to stay behind, and we said, "Well, this freaking guy didn't."
Oh,
go
when
back
we went to
on-
Autech, you mean?
No. When we
No,
all
no,
got
no.
to the
When
boat,
we all separated from the boat.
He'd sign an extension?
they asked him to because remember he had that freaking summer
He went-
off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
He did have a fucking hot boy summer.
Yeah,
where he
that's
was-
right.
I forgot. He was on summer break.
So
Yeah, he's
we
summer
all,
break.
we all kind of went like this, and we were like, "This freaking guy, he's
And he
gonna
went,
do it."
Oh,
And
damn it, God.
he agreed, and I guess they like probably got him with like, "We'll help you get the best shortage you can have, whatever."
Yeah.
I remember talking to Biddy like very shortly after, like I was just at Shorty, and he goes, "Oh, you didn't hear what happened with him?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "He got masted out of the Navy before they even left."
That happened?
What?
Yes. Apparently, I'm gonna forget some of the details. He had a tags violation. And
Again?
yes, he had. We need to get like Biddy or Jake or somebody. who
Still
remembers
kicked out of the
that.
Navy?
He didn't even go on deployment.
Oh, my God.
So then they were just down about it.
Wow.
All right. Well,
So he
I
went
didn't know
from
that
being
happened.
the Jamboy to jamming everybody else.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That
Yeah.
totally makes sense.
Hilarious.
Wow. I guess we should just say he was called DJ Remix because he had a stutter, which kind of goes back to my point.
Yeah.
I'll never forget Bryn's free pizza on cruise mess.
Yeah, that was the joke.
Dude, yeah.
Someone's making a 4MC and they go, and everybody's like, which one is it?
Yeah.
Is it fire? Is it flooding? And it's just DJ Remix going, free pizza on Christmas.
Again, there's
Oh
your
no.
people. That's not cyberbullying. That's to your face bullying.
Yeah, I mean, cyberbullying was only when it was there. It was
Yeah.
just, you're not in
Yeah.
front of me, so I'll make fun of you here.
Oh man.
The Jamboy that took over for me was Dwayne, but he was plenty qualified to fill that role.
I want to say. I mean,
I
I
really don't
imagine
know
it was
who
probably
was.
Aaron.
Yeah,
Oh,
or
yeah.
Joe.
Aaron and Joe.
No,
Yeah.
Joe didn't do. Joe
Yeah.
took
Joe,
on no responsibility. He was like, I want to do this.
I
If
did
anything,
tweet
Joe
him
took
on
good
Kid
pawn
Pond.
from you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he definitely got good pun with his shore duty.
I can't even speak to that because I got probably good pond to the max.
Maybe he went maintenance at in Charleston.
Kenny, I spent like 5 hours a week at my shore duty.
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean, I'm not saying you didn't both have it nice. I'm
Oh
just saying.
man.
It was
Lucas just had a higher cost of living.
Yeah, true.
No, I begged. I fucking begged, and I was like, dude, I'll do anything. Just send me to Charleston, please, God, anything. And they're like, yeah, no billets. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean there's no billets to go to Charleston for a nuke mechanic? Just send me to Charleston. I'll teach. I'll fucking
Yeah, no
Like,
prototype billets.
I change diapers, whatever you need. Just what do you mean there's no prototype billets down here? And they're like, yep, there's nothing down here. Looks like you're gonna have to stay in San Diego, bud.
I mean, there's worse deals than staying in San Diego. Could have gone to Guam.
yeah.
Yeah, no, but
That's where my orders were too. I was gonna go back to another fucking ship.
Yucky.
What?
Yeah. If I had, that's where my orders were too. If I wasn't gonna separate.
were you
I
gonna
was
go
gonna-
to
Fuck
the
that.
a
One
tender?
of the tenders. One of the tenders. in
Oh.
Oh, one of the
Oh.
chicken tenders. Ew.
You and freaking Joe.
Dude,
Yeah,
fuck
you and
that.
Joey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joey went over there. Dayorn went over there, I think.
Oh, did he? Damn.
Yeah.
Clay, you want to freaking come hang out with me on this freaking tender?
Oh yeah, Joe Ass. Yeah,
Joe Ass.
Joe Ass was so.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
different
yeah.
Joe.
Well, Joe Ass was there before. Joey went there after.
Yeah.
that's right.
I should just say Merp.
Merp. Yeah.
Yeah.
The way I mean, dude, even that the way that we differentiated people that were named Joe was Joe and Joe Ass.
You know, I just had a conversation about this the other day with a buddy at my work now who's on a carrier, and they had like 3 Smiths and whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, we had 2 guys who were the same last name. He goes, oh, how'd you tell them apart? I said black and white.
Well, that's the thing is our guys even have the same last name. It was not a problem. We just invented it.
No, Morty and Jimmy did.
Yeah.
Yes, we
yeah.
had to-
Alex.
But
Alex,
then people didn't they used to say black?
we did say that. Why did we say that?
I don't know why, but you guys used to say black.
Oh my
Like
god!
we were gonna fuck up and get him mixed up with the other guy.
right.
We had a really bad RC div chief, and then we wound up having a pretty good E div chief, and they both had the same last name. We called them Good Smith and Bad Smith.
True.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then our EDMC started calling him E7 Smith instead of Chief Smith.
Yeah.
We like that too.
Dude, that was so brutal. That's
Yeah.
like extremely disrespectful.
It's the only, if a chief is gonna verbally punch another chief in the dick, it's by saying E7.
E7.
Gosh dang.
But I'm saying Joe, Merp Joe, there was no other Joe. He was Joe Ass for no reason.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we weren't
and,
trying to tell him apart from anybody else. I remember I was fucking Joe Ass was the engineering watch supervisor for a monitored sample. And I was not the reactor technician, but they wanted me to do it because it was Cheese Bergeson. And they were like, you're the only one that actually like helps him not fuck it up. So I had to relieve the reactor technician for this monitored sample. And Joe Ass is the engineering watch supervisor. And I try to correct Cheese Bergeson on something. And he goes, and he looks at Joe and he goes, is that right? And Joe just and we're both kind of like, I think we know what he said. And the monitor goes, all right, stop. What the fuck did you just say?
One of my favorite Joe Ass story is after interacting with him underway or just being on the ship with him for as long as we did. We used to play like PlayStation together. We used to play Destiny online. And he was like, oh, I've been playing Destiny. And we're like, oh shit, he plays? Like, dude, this would be so sick. Let's get him online. And he pops in the first night. He's like, what's up, guys? And we're like, dude, get the fuck out of here. There's no
Clear as
fucking
day.
way. Clear as day.
It was a fucking act
Yeah.
on the
Dude.
boat to be just horrible. Like, he didn't even loop anybody in. Like, it's not like he was like, hey, watch this. It's going to be funny. I'll spend my whole career mumbling and being incoherent. It was just for him.
Yeah.
And then he got relieved as lead ELT by
Someone even worse, to be honest.
What's
what's his
his
first
first
name?
name? I can't remember his last name.
his last name was
Oh, yes.
and he was a fucking Schedule A.
Yeah, he was.
You can't say that. We invented a whole language.
Yeah.
Called Chinese.
His emails alone could be like its own story. They're incredible.
Oh, I wish we had recorded any of those.
I
He
know.
had
me
to
too.
actively work against autocorrect.
Yeah.
Of any
You-
kind.
I imagine that he thought red underline meant good to go. Send it.
Red underline is just emphasis that it's a really good word.
Okay, my favorite story with him, it was during DMD, and in a very unfortunate turn of events, I got stuck on nights with him and Morty together, 2 of the saddest individuals I could have ever spent time with. On nights, it's already depressing enough. And we were the reactor compartment crew, so I was isolated with them for 8 hours.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's rough.
And we get in there. It's the very beginning of our shift, and we oftentimes would go in and do a whole lot.
I know
of
that.
reading
I know the story.
And the control point watch is always civilian. Cheese and rice. So we're sitting there on the little like railing around the reactor core.
You're like right in front of the door, basically.
Right by the door.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was out of habit. He reaches in his pocket, puts in a fat chaw. And for those who don't know, that's a big no-no in the engine room in general, especially in radiological spaces. And the control point was this big shipyard Bubba. And he was like, that's cool. I won't write you up for that. And he was totally joking. And she goes, swallows the whole hog.
Yeah.
And we start busting a gut. And he's like, oh, I was just kidding. I wasn't going to write you up for it anyways. And then in such classic chief fashion, he's like, I didn't swallow anything. Like,
yeah.
We're like, oh my god!
Like you didn't just see him do the whole process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he proceeded to sit there for 7.5 hours.
And just fucking boiling from the inside.
Desperately holding his shit in his pants is what he was doing.
Yeah.
I remember the control point said, he's like, I wasn't going to write you up for that, but if you puke, I will.
Yeah.
Want to hear a good Mikey Jamboy story? So I remember, Mikey, did we get off the same day or like one day apart from each other?
I think it was a day apart. I was one day before you.
I was going to say, it had to be super close because we turned our TLDs in and everything at the same time.
Yeah.
And I remember we turned them in and it was like a Saturday before we were getting out. And Scary Terry asked us to come in and do some maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
On engine room.
The condenser.
Yeah. Like we'd done all of our checkout paperwork, everything, but they were strapped. They needed people. So Mike and I were like, all right, fine. We'll come in on a Saturday. And we did engine freshwater heat exchangers, zincs, I think it was.
Some port side.
Yeah.
And
so now we do the whole thing and we're freaking jawing the whole time. And I very specifically remember tossing an O-ring to Mikey for the big cover.
Uh-huh.
And we're like, okay, whatever. We leave, we come back, and we come in the morning. Morty's all because they went to hydro it, and it was leaking all over.
It's just fucking hate pissing water.
And Scary Terry's like, oh, you guys messed it up, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what are you talking about? We did it perfect. Like, I know we put O-rings in. I was like, Mikey, you put that O-ring in, right? And he goes, and just leaves.
And I left.
He just leaves.
Like left, he's done on the boat.
Mikey.
No. We
He
were
walks away from
standing
the
in a
bed plate.
group talking,
Okay,
and they
gotcha.
were like, you put it in, right? And I was like, yeah. And I immediately turned around and fucking darted.
And I go down, and he's like this, no procedure, no nothing. He's just like pulling the nuts off as fast as he can. And he had the O-ring still in his pocket.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He never put it in. So he puts it in, puts it all back together.
Yeah.
And then they go to do the test, and I think it still leaked a little bit or something. So they take it out. I remember Charlie. He was the one who pulled it off. He goes, no, the O-ring's in there.
O-ring's there.
O-rings there. Dude, I went down there.
Story checks out.
I was like, dude, I definitely did that. And I don't know why I touched my pocket, but as we were having this conversation, Lucas was like, I threw him the fucking O-ring. He put it in. We did it. And I'll feel it in my thing. And I'm like, yeah, it's in there. I'll be right back, though.
Dude, that reminds me of when Desi didn't when Desi didn't know we were doing rod testing. You guys remember that story? So we were on ISEX, and all our Chief Jeremy, all he's talked about every fucking day for 3 months is everyone needs to review the rod testing procedure that I put together and confirm that you've read it, because we're doing it as soon as we pull into Groton. It's all we're doing. It has to go well. The day we pull into Groton, Chief Jeremy goes, oh, everybody read the rod testing package, right? Raise your hand if you didn't see it yet. And Desi puts his hand up. And Chief's already getting pissed off. He's like, how? And he goes, okay, well, what do you know? Like, have you been looking at it? You know, anything? And Desi goes, honestly, this is the first I'm hearing of it.
Oh, man.
And he exploded. That's all I've been talking about. And I still don't know to this day. That's how Desi was like that at the beginning for everything.
He probably was just messing with them.
That's what I think. I think all of it was like a joke that no one got at the time.
Yeah.
But it did not play in that crowd.
That joke bombed.
He was. I mean, there's so many early. Desi was. I felt I needed a nap. You remember?
I felt I needed a nap is probably my favorite one.
Yeah, he's supposed to stand a reactor operator UI under Bryn, and Bryn has him racked out. He's supposed to be awake. It's his ongoing time. Bryn has him racked out by whoever's available, and he lumbers back to the engine room with rack burn all over his
sleepy.
fucking
Yeah.
Bryn
Where
goes,
the fuck were you?"
fuck were you? He goes, I felt I needed a nap. And Bryn exploded just like Keith did. I mean, and then the one that made Matt hate him like forever.
That's where he went home, right?
No, well, there was that. There was when he went home instead of coming to the critique that our division was in. When he'd been there for like 3 weeks, like he was so junior. But the one that got Matt was Matt and Marco were a watch team, reactor operator and throttleman. And this is when we had the soda machine still. And Matt called Desi into maneuvering and said he asked him to fill up his cup with like Sprite or something.
Mhm.
And Marco was the throttleman. He goes, "Oh, while you're up forward, I left my water bottle in my rack. Would you please grab it for me?" And Desi doesn't even acknowledge that he just said that. And he looks at Matt and points at Marco and he goes, "Is this guy fucking serious?"
Dude, poor Marco just getting strays.
I could hear Matt. I was a reactor technician. I could hear Matt yelling from engine room middle level.
Gosh.
Is he fucking serious?
I can so perfectly picture Desi's like goofy face and like his New York accent saying it. Is this guy serious?
Oh, I'm sure he said it deadpan too.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
He
All of
didn't
these
even
things.
smirk.
That's what I'm saying. No one ever knew if he was kidding because every single thing he said was like, "Oh, he's serious. He is the worst."
Desi became one of my favorite people towards the end, though.
Oh, absolutely.
He was great.
Hilarious.
Desi's what you get when you join the Navy after you have already had real life.
A life.
Yeah. And you're not like.
I mean, like,
20.
imagine you went in now.
But it was way later. He was like 34.
I mean,
I feel like if I
that's
go
not
in
that
5
far
years
off.
from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be so funny.
And all these kids are like, "Fill up my Sprite."
You'd be like, this guy's serious.
This guy
Is
fucking
this guy fucking serious?
Clay, I think we should probably tell the story from your perspective.
Yeah, we need your POV.
I thought I was the
POV
hero,
nude
man. I was
in
like,
the
I was
engine
blocking
room.
all the water coming out of those vents.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, it's gonna get in the sink. It's gonna get in the primary sample sink." And I'm like using my body to block it, like,
Yeah.
you know, the superhero that I am. Well, I didn't block any water. It still went everywhere.
Yeah. You didn't block all the water, that's for sure.
My favorite is when they were like, because Danny was my overinstruct, and they're like, "Danny, are you wetted?" And he had already seen what was happening to me, and
Right.
he's like, "No,
No, I'm dry.
No.
I'm dry."
Yeah.
And I
Soaking
looked
wet.
at him and with just hate, just pure hate. I was like, because I was like, at least me and my buddy Danny are in this together. And then no, he just rolled out. He's like,
Yep.
"No,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that."
I'm dry as fuck.
Who led the
Yeah,
charge?
like, dude, when I got down to my boxers, and like there was this moment when I was in my boxers and I like looked at Eng and I looked at whoever was, I think I looked at or somebody, and I was like, "Are we doing this?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, these two."
Just nodding heads.
All right, boys. And the squadron,
Everybody.
who's
The squadron, everybody was there.
Yeah. Just Squadron
Yeah.
pulls his
and
fucking
he
glasses
wound up
out.
being our EMC after too, and we like laughed about
The
it. But I was so,
CRA,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
After you had gotten naked, the squadron CRA followed the bag that had your underwear in it over to me at counting station. And he goes, "What are you counting?" And I was like, I guess Clay's underwear. And
Haynes.
he goes, "You know how fucking stupid this is, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, it seems pretty stupid." He's like, "Okay, good. No
That's-
one over there realizes how stupid this is."
They were afraid because we had gotten fucked up by squadrons so
Yeah.
much in the past like couple months that they were gonna fail conservative on everything.
Yeah.
Well, get your dick out.
Well, they did. Get your dick out.
That made the whole thing that hurt worse. My favorite was when Dylan and Jake were in full NICs doing cleanup, and Dylan looks over at me and he goes, "Nice dick." And I started laughing, and it started bouncing.
Yeah.
And it was bouncing while I was trying to frisk it out, and it was like, "What is happening?"
Who led the charge of like, "Oh, you actually need to get naked here"? Was it the
I think it was
ELT?
Eng.
It
I think it was
Eng?
Eng.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, go ahead and take those off for me.
I came back to assist with cleanup and counting station ops, and I came over next to you between the high packs at counting station.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, Eng looked at me right in the eye and he goes, "You know, on the bright side, way to stay in shape."
Oh my god.
That's what. Because you mentioned that after the fact to like a handful of people, and from then on out, I was like, oh, dude, like he was just fucking. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead and take those off right quick. let's just fail conservative. Let's be safe.
Yikes.
Because
Good
that
thing
whole
that he wasn't in the bathroom when Mikey got me wet with the leak of the sink drill.
oh
There's
yeah.
you get me naked in
Leak
the
in
head.
in the head sink?
No. It was I was interim supervisor. Afterwards, I
Oh,
found
primary
out. that-
samples. I thought you were in
Yeah.
the head, and Mikey goes, leak in the sink, and just starts
Wait, Lucas, have you told
Get
the
naked.
story about you and Marcus in Andrew Forward
Yeah,
during
I
this
think
whole
so.
event?
Yeah.
that's how when we told the story, it was like from both perspectives at the same time. But Lucas, you were on.
I'm pretty sure.
I
can't
think you were on
remember
for that one.
exactly.
Because
where
I
you
was.
guys- yeah.
It was.
Or maybe Mikey told that side of it, but we captured the fact that neither party knew that both those
There were
things
so
happened.
many fucking active events happening during
So
that
many.
story. It could have been a fucking 3-episode of like 24.
Yeah.
For sure.
The most like
it's a Netflix
paralyzing-
limited series. No
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
And it ends with Clay's dick bouncing up and down.
Yeah.
The most paralyzing part was when they made the wrong initial
Yeah.
one.
That's
and
the
Yeah.
thing. It all tied together so perfectly.
My breath was taken
Well,
away.
Yeah.
you guys, I don't know if you guys know this. We called control and we asked them to keep level decks, but Country Nav was the officer of the deck, and he said, "No, we're doing angles and dangles."
Right.
And then I think because we had asked for level decks, he did the most hardcore angles and dangles he could do.
You asked for level decks because you knew that the water was going to come out?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
was
we
already
knew
on
that
the
there had been lots of issues over the past weeks
With the
before
ventilation
that,
cooling,
where the ventilation was pooling. Yeah.
So when the spill happened, they actually did stop? I don't remember that.
Yeah. That's why Chief called it in at the RPFW station 4MC.
Yeah.
He called away the spill.
But the reason that it was called away incorrectly is because he called it away incorrectly.
He originally
yeah,
called
that
it
makes
away.
sense.
Yeah, he originally
Rails
called it
fell
away
in your
interim
forward!
forward. And we were in interim forward going, what the fuck?
Dude,
They know? How do they
How
know?
do they know?
I
We're trying
remember
to clean it up.
like,
We're like,
I'll
"Where the
never
fuck
forget
away?"
Marcus's face because the only people I was me, Marcus, and Shui. But now, so it's like we're minutes into our because we have no idea what's going on up there.
Yeah, just water
we just
coming
think
down.
like, oh, water coming down, but we see it going to the drip trays. We're like,
Right.
not on my watch.
Yeah.
You know? And so we got a whole trash can full of chem wipes.
Yeah,
And then that's when the 1MC goes away.
right.
Well, no. We said, hey, go get us a fuck ton of chem wipes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't tell anyone. And then he leaves, and while he's gone, the fucking 4MC comes up. There's a
Yeah.
spill in interim forward, and we're like, that son of a bitch.
I saw Marcus from like around the feed station control board. He goes, "What'd you do?"
Correctional ass too. Oh, Mikey, here's something else I thought about recently, but I forget the context about it. And I wonder if
Okay.
you remember.
Okay.
For some reason, I think it was the first deployment, we had this like insane inside joke where every time Philip answered the phone, it would be like, confirm that's a warship? Yep, that's a warship. And then he would just like
Yes.
start loading torpedoes into tubes. It's like on his own.
That came from Maneuvering Watch, is where
Okay.
they originated from.
No, I thought we were
Because
down in the torpedo room kicking it.
That was
but
true a lot.
we could overhear the comms
27
from the
feet.
Maneuvering Watch. We could overhear the comms from the Maneuvering Watch, and we overheard someone go, "Can you confirm us warship?
Mhm.
Can you confirm us
Yeah,
warship?"
that's a warship.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah. So that's where I said that maybe 4 months ago, just
Yeah.
sitting in the car, like driving.
Yeah, that's a warship.
Yeah,
was
that's a
listening
warship.
That's Mikey. That's mental illness.
Yeah. It's seeping through.
I saw this video on YouTube called like the most realistic submarine documentary ever. And it's like a camera crew that got to play along during war games.
Mhm.
And one of the sonar techs is like, or the sonar soup goes like, you know, report that sound signature. He goes, that's a warship. And I just immediately was like, yeah, that's a warship. but then tied to that, we like that. So Philip was a TM2 who had been in the Navy for like 70 years. And we had constructed this backstory of him that he was so trigger happy and like ready to launch torpedoes for the first time ever, that anytime the torpedo room phone would ring, he would pick it up and just be like, "Yep, got it," and hang up, and start loading torpedoes without even listening to what they said.
I was very junior, and we were on the surface somewhere, and we got to do what's called a lookabout or a look around. You get to go open the sail, look out, it's icy, still out there, quiet, black as night, stars everywhere. It's really cool. It low key is one of like the coolest things.
I know, dude. I was so into like the hazing culture that I never did it, and I regret not ever doing it.
It was pretty cash money. We're blowing.
Until...
Yeah. So I go up there. It's me, the officer, and the lookout, or whatever the heck he's called. And we are actively blowing sands. Little submarine knowledge for those who don't know. The discharge for sands normally below the water line. However, submarines are like a can of Pringles in a bathtub. So they're doing this all the time. And the discharge is forward of the sail. And we are actively driving forward. And we're doing a little bit of a rock, and all of a sudden, for about 1 second, probably even less, I hear, and the next thing is a wave, a mist. And
I can smell it.
It took me like a full second to realize what happened, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm covered in dookie."
Yep.
And I think whoever the lookout was, like, he knew it was happening, and they had that little shield there.
Yeah, they had a shield.
I did not duck.
Yeah.
Anyways, I go down, and of course, 2 people are sleeping in the racks, and so I
you can't even get your stuff out.
I couldn't get any of my stuff out.
He was floater.
They stuck
in
you
egging
there.
or corner.
That's right.
Gross already.
Oh no,
I'm
you're
not
never
gonna
gonna be You're never gonna be clean again.
We're forever unclean. And so I literally was in the bathroom like this, washing myself with hand soap. And Mikey comes in. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Smell my hair."
Yeah.
Smell my hair.
Yeah, I can smell my hair. I was like, "Ew, it smells like shit."
It is.
It is shit. That's a lesson to all the kids. Never go up for a look around, because the submarine will spray you with shit.
The coolest part about submarines is when you're on the surface.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. I got to be a bridge phone talker for the last probably 6 or 7 months of my sea tour, and it was the best time I ever had on the boat was getting to be bridge phone talker for the maneuvering watch.
Absolutely.
It was awesome.
I got to do that for a while too.
And if you're a nuke and you're a bridge phone talker, that means you're on 2JV, which means you're the backup phone talker, which means you have no responsibility at all. You just get to hang out up there and coke and joke and watch the officer fuck up trying to drive the ship.
You guys remember Beanies and Weenies?
I'm guessing hot dogs and beans.
It was like one of the best
mid-rats
or like little snacks they put out sometimes. I'll never forget. Chief
is it like
Evan.
all mixed together?
Yeah. It's just like baked beans and little chopped up hot dogs in there.
Yeah.
And Chief Eben got so mad at one of the Conner chiefs because he caught a weenie skimming.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And then the term weenie skimmer became like it went like wildfire throughout the boat, and everyone was just like accusing everyone of weenie skimming.
That's very funny.
dirty fucking weenie skimmer.
Because Eben was my watch suit underway. I was the room suit. He was my watch suit.
Duck.
And so I remember him coming back, and he was like, "Did you get a load of the fucking skimming up happening up in the cruise mess?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "All the weenies were getting skimmed."
Oh, that's why he got so pissed, because he was on watch. He got his mid-watch relief to come and get some beanies and weenies.
It was all
and there was no weenies.
He wouldn't shut the fuck up about it because he was so excited for the beanies and weenies.
All beanies.
He was like, "I just got a bunch of all beanies." All beanies, no weenies.
It was like Guacpocalypse Part 2.
Oh my god. I'm trying to get the perfect cast together to tell that story. So
we need Tony.
Mooch's. I can't get.
Do you
Tony
think Joey B would be on it? Do you want Joey B on here?
No, I mean
not especially, but kind of.
There's a lot of stories that I would have him tell if he came on here. Number one, Despot.
Yeah,
Despot. I want to hear that story in real life.
Me too.
Number 2 would be Guacpocalypse. So maybe
Guactober.
never forget. when we were on IceX, Ben was brand new. He showed up a couple months after we did. And I remember me and I think Mikey, maybe it might have been Lucas. We were waiting in the chow line, and there were people sleeping in torpedo room.
Dude, I didn't know what you're saying.
You do?
Yeah.
It must have been you then. And whoever is sleeping in torpedo room right in front of where we're waiting in line has the most severe case of sleep apnea I've ever heard in my life. And just all of a sudden goes right in the middle of his sleep. And Ben is in line right behind Lucas and I. And he like perks up like this. And he stares at us dead in the eyes and he goes, "It's the serum." It's like out of nowhere. We don't know him. It's just like so fast.
He did it with a slow delivery though. That was kind of his like. It's the serum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his eyes.
He was very,
the way
very
the way
quick-witted.
his eyes looked when he said things.
Yeah.
Very big.
Yeah,
But
He
he's
was
the one
funny.
that he's the
He
one
was a
that really,
showman. I loved it. I could really
he's the one
appreciate
that really
it.
drove home Guacpocalypse. Like we can't let this die.
Yeah.
I guess we could just so Guacpocalypse without ruining the whole story is a nub took too much guacamole and it
A
triggered.
bowl.
Yeah, I mean that's Tony's opinion.
It turned into a multifaceted meltdown over the span of more than the meal hour.
Oh no, I don't get enough fucking guacamole. I'm fully qualified. I mean, it just melted.
Although,
over.
to be fair, if you just change out guacamole, that was about every complaint that Tony had.
Yes, agree.
Yeah.
Tony was the angriest person.
I'm fully qualified. Insert rant.
Yes,
Yeah.
true. I remember Tony was quite the character.
Yeah.
My favorite Tony story was the one where he had his fucking hat on.
I was just
funny.
gonna tell that story.
Okay, do it.
Tony, you guys know this one?
Yeah.
So Tony was engine room forward for the maneuvering watch, and I was reactor technician. And Tony demanded that I spend the majority of my watch sitting at the ladder and just bullshitting with him. He didn't want me to go do my job. He wanted me to keep him company. And I was a good reactor technician, so that's what I did. And so we were hanging out for like a good couple hours on the maneuvering watch, and he gets relieved, and I'm still on watch. And he comes up the ladder, and he says, he's wearing his hat. I wish I had a hat. I do.
I've
He's
never
wearing-
seen anyone wear a hat like this either.
He's wearing his
Except this
hat
one-
regular, and then he comes up the ladder, and he puts it on like this.
Just barely
Like
floating
on his head. And he goes, EDMC was at the RC workbench up the non-vertical ladder. And Tony goes, "Yo, Kenny, how long until EDMC tells me to fix my hat?" And I say, I don't think he's gonna notice. And he goes, "He'll notice." And I was like, all right, I'll say 5 minutes. And he takes 3 steps up the non-vertical ladder, and I hear, "Tony, fix your goddamn hat!" And he doesn't even fix it.
He just turns around.
Yeah.
He looks the other way.
He's on the ladder, and he just looks back at me like this. Yeah,
There's
lots
one
of
Tony
anger.
story that I wish I could have been a fly on the wall for. And if you ever can get like Chris on here or Tony himself to tell it, is when Ediv was doing starboard motor generator maintenance.
Okay.
And
So I couldn't go up the ladder.
well, he was John at Chris, who was now on watch. He had just
I know this story.
he had just worked out in middle level.
Okay.
TG Lubol Bay.
Yeah.
And so he's all, "Hey, Tony, you know?"
Yeah.
And then he's John at Chris at the feed station control panel, and he starts going up the ladder,
And
and he shoots up
Oh no!
as one does, and boom into a half-inch steel plate.
Yeah, the hat's a
And he
shut,
falls
obviously.
down. And I only know this because Kevin and Chris have told me. But he falls down, and they start cackling like hyenas. And he's like, "I'll fucking kill you!" And he just goes full rage monster. But
He
I
was
wish I
yelling
could've
at Chris and Kevin or at the
Yeah.
E-Divers?
No,
At
at
Chris
Chris
and
and Kevin, because they were laughing at him.
Oh my god.
I just wish I could have seen the like Olympic pole vaulting up into the steel plate.
because you know for a fact
I've
how
done that on
hard.
more than one occasion. And
Yeah.
it's, dude, it'll change your whole perspective on life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like shortens your bottom teeth by a little
Yeah,
bit.
you're like, what am I doing here? DeAndre, Didi.
DeAndre, and he literally chipped his tooth
Oh, true.
on, and like his shoulder, he messed it up on the.
It was on the handrail.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were doing angles and angles. He hit his mouth on the handrail. Saying chipped his tooth does a drastic disservice to what happened to his tooth.
He shattered his tooth.
He had a fragment left of his fucking front
Yeah,
tooth.
it looked like he got open ice checked.
Yeah, he was
When
coming
was
up the
done with
stairs.
that.
We took a roll, I think. He hit his shoulder on the handrail, and it hurt, so he fell. And then on his way down, I think he clipped the other handrail or the lip of the floor or something. I don't know.
And then when we were in shipyard, he got a cadaver tooth put in, and he couldn't stop showing that thing off, dude.
Oh yeah,
he loved that tooth.
Check out my
and I
cadaver
loved it
tooth.
for him.
Yeah.
I think we should tell the story of our AUTEC case race before, because I'm gonna put the video that I found mostly in the intro. I think it needs some context.
Do you want me to give the context since I was the commissioner?
You were the commissioner and you took the video.
Wait, were all three of you guys on that Bahama Mama vacation?
Me and Mikey, we had a 3-person room. It was me, Mikey, and this dinosaur fucking cockroach.
This cockroach is the size of my fucking balls. It was the biggest cockroach I've ever seen in my whole life.
Did you give it a name? It had a name, probably.
I don't think so.
We didn't
I called it, dude, kill it.
Yeah. Kenny, I want to say the first time we saw it was Kenny was like probably taking a piss or a shit.
Yeah, it was in the bathroom.
And it came out of the sink.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I think
because
so.
That's where I first saw it, and I was like, "What the fuck? That's the biggest cockroach I've ever seen."
Yeah. And then we
outside of a zoo,
tracked it in around the room, and then lost it. And I was standing on the bed.
Oh yeah, we were like looking under the bed, waiting to look down, and it's just down there cracking its fucking knuckles, waiting for us to go to sleep.
But that sums up what this Bahama vacation was.
Yeah, it was. I roomed with Jake on that trip, but
they got to the credit of the boat. I don't think they meant to do this, but they really let off an all-star cast.
They did.
I was about to say, looking back on it, we very easily could have set the boat up for failure with any of us getting fucked up in any shape or way or form on that.
Let's see. It was the three of us: Joshua, Nick, Dwayne, Jake, Daniel, Aaron.
Wasn't EDMC there with you?
Yep.
Yes,
he was our chaperone.
He was our fucking chaperone.
He rolled up to the case race and asked what we were doing, and we just told him. And we go, "You want to play?" And he goes, "Nah." But he thought about it.
He thought about it for a good 3 seconds.
Yeah, I respect that.
Okay, so the case race was the second day we were there, and I know that because I had gotten a little bit too boozy the night before and was feeling a little bit sicky. So I decided to be the commissioner. My tum-tum was upset. I'd been freaking up checking all night.
Oh, really?
I got obliterated the night before.
Damn.
And we hadn't been drinking at all.
True.
And my dum-dum was like...
Well, we ended up going straight to drinking, but then the island didn't really have food either, so we were just getting pickled.
Yeah, we were.
Well, hang on. Mikey, can you give the welcome to AUTEC brief that we got?
Please do.
Okay, so we get on a barge.
But we still think we're going to the Sands Resort, by the way.
Yeah. I think we're going to Nassau. You know,
except we're on a dinghy with an MA, a female MA.
Yeah. I'm glad we go. This.
Oh, what's it like to be stationed in the Bahamas? And she goes, "It's fucking horrible." Oh,
and we were like, "Uh-oh."
Ruh-roh.
She's just deadpan staring out over the ocean, just contemplating jumping. And we're like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah. I just remember that being like, "Did you see what we just got off?"
Yeah. It's not that bad.
Yeah. And then we pull in. They give us a debrief. There's some MA or whoever the fuck it was. And we sit at a picnic table. I remember very explicitly on a gravel little road.
It was like a little boat launch.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're sitting at this picnic table, and he's like, "Okay, so you guys are going to go get some rooms. There's a mess deck where you guys can go eat, chow hall, and here's the meals you can eat. And there's also a place over here that you can go get food, but it's only open these random hours, and it's got a Wi-Fi, but not too many people can be on it at once." And then we're like, "Okay, that's rational. Those things that you've covered so far, those are pretty rational." And he goes, "And then there's a gym, but the gym's closed right now because there's a bunch of ringworm going around." And we're like, "Okay, all right, it's whatever." And they're like, You got this beach right here. Don't go outside of the barrier of the beach. Also, stay away from the lobsters because the lobsters are carrying ringworm. And we were like, oh, okay.
And he's like,
and then
and
they're like,
it's infested with sharks.
and they're like, don't go in the water either. It's
Did he say
shark
like
season.
that way sharks, and if you go this way, the MAs will shoot you? Or
Yeah,
something
he
like
goes,
that?
so you can swim over there, but it is infested with sharks. If you go past the rocks that direction, the MAs will shoot you. Okay.
And then
And don't leave base. You're not allowed to leave base.
and then you can't leave. Yeah, and then you can't not leave base. And then EDMC had asked if we could have a golf cart, and they said no, we couldn't. while the dude goes, you guys got any other questions? Thanks. He hopped in a golf cart and drives off.
Yep. They all had their own cart.
There's
Yeah.
a big place.
It was huge.
And then they had the wind turbine that was disassembled
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
because they were. What happened? I looked into it after the fact. Well, after the fact, they disassembled that thing because there was a horrible tropical storm coming through, and they didn't want it to like damage further infrastructure. So they just disassembled it, and they're like, once the storm passes, storm season goes away, we'll just go put it back together, and they never fucking did. They just left it.
Yeah, that sounds
Fuck
about
it.
right.
Well, then I remember we get to the check-in, and we're all standing there like ready to get our keys, and they start handing us bills.
Do you remember how much that shit cost per
Yeah, it was
person?
like $100 a night per room.
But that
No,
she
sorry.
fucking she reneged on what she originally said.
Yeah,
And we were like, hold up, you're charging us basically double a room because there's two people
right.
in them, and they're like,
Oh my
Mhm.
god.
so we all had to get.
$100, and then we were like, well, if we split rooms, is it cheaper? She's like, nope, same rate.
And I was like, well, can I just get my own room? And they're like, no.
You have to pair
And
with
they-
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. So EDMC was like, just give me your government travel card. Don't fucking lose it. Don't fucking lose it.
That's right.
So we had to give them the travel cards, which I don't even know.
That whole thing is insane for being on a fucking Navy base.
Yeah. Where
Yeah.
else would you like us to stay?
Yeah. We're not legally can't go off base or you'll shoot us. And but
Yeah.
also
Don't go past the rocks or the MAs will shoot
but
you.
pay for your room.
And then I
Yeah.
remember very specifically a little sign that said "Lost key charge $100."
Wow.
And I'll tell you why I remember that, because it was a physical key. It
Yeah,
wasn't
it
like
was.
a key card. Beep. We're in like.
Well, it was a
1960s.
physical key on one of those little hooky white
Yeah.
plastic things.
Yeah, like a big guitar pick.
And my
Yeah.
key goes into my pocket, and then I go into the ocean. We get back, the very first night we get back to the room, I'm like, oh my gosh. lost my key already.
First night.
So Jake lets me in. The next morning, Jake and I go out for a little romantic sunrise morning walk. And the way the water was there, it had this reef like 200, 300 feet out. So the waves broke there, and then it was glassy up until there. And we're just putzing around. I'm already like pissed off. I'm after
I forgot you
$100.
lost your key. That's right.
And Jake goes, oh, I found it. Reaches down, pulls my key up out of the ocean. I was
Yeah.
like,
That's right.
Yeah.
Saved you a cool
Oh,
$100.
look. Is this your key?
All right, case race time.
case race. Yeah. So I was feeling a little sicky. So I was the commissioner. Everybody else split up into teams of two. And very simple idea. Who
Two
could drink?
teams. Two teams.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody split into two teams. And there was probably some picking and choosing of heavyweights and lightweights. And then, it was just, I think it was a 4-hour time limit.
Sounds
Does that
right.
sound right?
Yeah.
And it was whoever could drink cumulatively as a team the most beers. There was a little fun twist on it. If you puked, it was negative beers.
Yeah.
And where one of the best parts in the clip comes into is there was a little like 10 by 10 floating wooden raft about 100 feet out
In the shark infested waters.
in the shark infested waters. Granted, it was only like 5 or 6 foot deep the whole way. But if you swam out to Shark Island, then
Throw Up Island.
Throw Up Island.
Throw Up
That's
Island.
right. Throw Up Island. You
Throw
could
Up Island.
puke out there for free, and it didn't cost your team any beers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, then began the timer, and that's kind of.
I remember if you didn't have the video of it, I wouldn't remember very much of the whole thing.
because Kenny's yelling. Well, I was provoking Kenny.
Yeah, you
I
you
kept
did a
asking
pretty
him
good
the
job
same question.
of poking everybody. Kenny, how many
I
beers
feel
did you have?
like
How many
puking
beers
out
did you
at the shark infested island is like makes it way more dangerous.
have? Yeah,
For
that was
sure.
the whole thing. Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. It was fun.
We were
Like,
trying to incentivize
No one's gonna
you
actually go out
either-
there because the sharks will be attracted to your throw up.
I think
did
Dwayne
some-
was the only one.
Dwayne
Wayne
went
was
out
the
there.
only one that attempted it.
Yeah, he did.
No, he went all the way out. I remember because I went with him because I was like, I'm not gonna let this guy drown. So I went. I think Nick and I both went out with him. I think, and he did definitely puke. And I 100% remember, as clear as night, day, whatever.
Day is
right,
clear at night.
Right past the buoy was like a shelf, and it was dark down there.
Oh, very deep.
And I saw 1 or 2 sharks right there.
Damn.
And Nick and I were like, just leapt forward as much as we could, paddle as fast as we could. They were sharks for sure.
Yeah, Lucas kept asking me how many beers you had to drink, and in the video I just turned and screamed at him, 11. And then he asked somebody else. I don't remember who it was, and they're like, he's like, how many have you had? And he goes 4, and then I just couldn't stop laughing about he only had 4 beers. It had been like an hour. Like, it was irresponsible how much beer we drank.
Yeah,
just tables. And when EDMC rolled up, we had covered 2 picnic tables in empty bottles.
I want to say it was like
that's when. What the fuck y'all got going on?
You're looking at it, dude.
Well,
what does it look like, fucker?
Saw us at the necks buying it all.
True.
Yeah, there's little tiny necks on base.
Where the cases of beer is $55.
Do you remember how we transported
everything was very expensive.
Do you guys remember how we transported the beers?
No.
Wheelbarrow.
Oh,
really?
Oh yeah, because you didn't have a golf cart.
No,
it was a wheelbarrow that was sitting outside of the thing. We asked if we could borrow it, and they said sure. So we just shoved as many as we could in this little cart and pushed it down the fucking road.
It was a long way away. The bar was like on one corner of the base, and we were way the other side, probably over a mile.
That bar was dope though, especially their prices there were oddly cheap.
Yep.
That was the thing. The prices were inconsistently cheap.
Yeah.
But you would never get the same price for the same item in the hour.
Yeah, that was quite the experience.
We tried to do like that middle school algebra where it's like Mike buys 3 drinks, Lucas buys 4 drinks. What is the average price of the drink? And then you try to do the math, and like Josh went and ordered some, I went and ordered some, somebody else went and ordered some, and then every time we came back together, no fucking variables that were consistent would make the math make sense.
They just made up how much each drink. Wait, this beer was 75 cents?
Josh came out to the picnic tables with like in the middle of the beer drinking with Jack and Cokes.
Oh my God.
Because he was like, I gotta rinse my mouth out. I gotta change it up. And he was like, do you want one? I was like, sure. I was like, how much I owe you? He was like, I don't know. And he pulls out a receipt, and it said $1.75 for 2 Jack and Cokes. So later that trip, I remember going back and getting 2 more, and it was like $2.50.
Yeah.
Like $2.50 for. What am I paying for, dude?
Still cheap.
I just remember like not even sweating going and asking for a bucket of Coronas.
Yeah.
Because it was going to be so low.
I mean, we drastically underestimated how many beers we were going to drink. We had like 4 cases, and they were gone very fast.
Very quickly.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Well, we basically, at the little grocery store, I have a picture of it, and I will send it to you, Kenny, of the blackboard they had at the grocery store, and it was asking the people that lived there, write down on this blackboard things that you want in the store, and we'll order it for you. And it was fucking filled to the brim of shit that they weren't ordering. And it was like baking powder, fucking like dry beans.
Yeah, just kitchen
bread.
staples.
Yeah, just staples food. But then you look over there, and then it's like I can go buy a fucking 2 wheelbarrows and
they had all that.
108
every
beers.
kind of liquor you could have wanted, and every flavor of beer you could have wanted were there.
Yes, coolers out the ass. But God forbid you wanted to buy like a microwave dinner.
Yeah. And the food at their galley was pretty good.
Do you guys remember the fucking grilled cheese bandit?
I remember the name, but I don't remember.
So do I. I don't remember the story.
The grilled cheese bandit. We sat down for like a brunch time frame meal, and there was a gigantic shipyard worker sitting in there solo with a tray of about 22 fucking grilled cheeses, because they would bring them out on the big trays and put them out, and this dude was just sitting there crushing.
He just had the whole tray?
Yeah, he had a whole fucking metal tin And so I was like, dude, that's the grilled cheese bandit. That's why we're fucking standing here waiting for fucking hamon and cheese
Right.
sandwiches.
Yeah.
One of my things I remember I wish we would have kept was Joe had started writing this manifesto basically of like the origin of the Spite Sniper.
Yeah.
Lucas's
That
fucking
was
alter
good.
ego. And I'll never forget it. I even like my kids say it because I say it so often sometimes, is that when he did like a CIA like ops sec package of this character that Lucas played, this spy sniper, and it was like his background, his like weaknesses, his strengths, and then it was like level of knowledge, and it said Father's library is vast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Oh no.
Oh, that one was so fucking funny.
Joe wrote that entire thing on Watch.
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
he did. All right, I think
Well,
the
entering
last
lower level computer is a really good one for
Yeah.
getting away
manifestos.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting right manifestos.
The last story I wanted to bring up on the first episode was the nub draft. I don't think we've told that on the
I don't remember that one.
No, we
regular
haven't.
show. You don't remember that, Lucas?
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
we played nub draft a lot, I think, in maneuvering.
Well, this is when we were nubs.
Oh.
The story I want to tell is when we were nubs. So this would have been ISEX. And the watch team that did the nub, actually, it transcended all the watch teams. So they were
they
like
each
taking
did their
turns.
own.
They each did their own, yeah. So John, old Jenny, and
Johnny.
Josh.
Yep.
I think those were the only two. They showed up about 2 months before me and Mikey and Lucas and DJ Remix and Kyle.
Yes.
And then Danny and Clay had showed up a couple months after us. And the nub draft was held by the maneuvering watch teams of all the watch teams. And the results came out. And the results had one of us, I don't remember who, but one of the newer nubs. And then both of the staff pickups, Danny and Clay. And then Josh, and then Jenny. And Jenny had a meltdown about how late he got drafted in the nub draft for a week or two. I mean, yelling at us for having been picked before him, which like that's our fault.
Yeah.
Yelling at the senior maneuvering watch standards, trying to like plead his case, but like, well, I know all this stuff, and he doesn't. Blah blah blah. Just because he's a staff pickup doesn't mean. I mean, he freaked the fuck out that he got drafted like 5th in the nub draft that didn't matter at all by people that didn't really know him for no reason. And it's so perfectly who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About all things. What, 5th?
5th
After Josh? And then the maneuver.
Yeah, the fact that John was drafted after Josh was a mistake.
At the time, it wasn't.
Okay.
At the time, it wasn't. Because that's what he did. He was just crazy about everything.
He was a basket case.
Yeah.
Like my first interactions, like anything, when I think back on John, the first things that I remember of interacting with him is watching him use a giant serving spoon to ladle the vanilla pudding down his throat like a fucking pelican.
He didn't want to waste it.
Because
Right?
he didn't want to waste it.
Yeah.
And he was just like throwing back like giant ladles worth at a time, like getting visibly sick because he couldn't waste it. And then the whole Putnam incident,
Yeah, Putnam was something else.
incredible.
The one that sticks in my memory probably until I die is when he was doing tags on, I don't know, the people, some shit in the aft and the maneuvering, and we were shut down, and I think I was alone. I must have just been shut down electrical operator. I don't know who I was with, but John starts whistling, but he's not whistling a song. He's just whistling like offbeat random whistles. And it's driving me insane because I'm like trying to figure out what he's whistling, and he's just changing it. It's just random fucking whistles. And I was like, John, what are you whistling? And he turns around and he goes, what do you mean? And I was like, it's just nonsense what you're whistling. It's not a song. There's no rhythm to it. And he goes, I'm not whistling a song. I was like, what are you whistling? He goes, it's just a whistle while you work kind of thing.
So pure and innocent. So
what the
pure
fuck
and
does that
innocent.
mean? What does that mean?
It's a whistle while you work.
Like someone told him, whistle while you work. And he was just like, yeah, what? Okay, just whistle sounds randomly. I was like, what do you mean? Whistle while you work means you have something going on in your head that you're whistling. And he's like, no, I'm just whistling. It was like, if that happened in a psych ward, it'd be like, yeah, that's check that guy. That's insane. Yeah, it's just a whistle while you work kind of thing. And then he just went right back to it, whistling every so often, randomly.
It's closer to bird calls than it was to.
I found a video that Johnny Barani sent from my going away party, where I'm sitting on he left his Packers sweatshirt on a bar stool, and I sat on it and didn't even know that it was happening. And his video is like of me sitting on the sweatshirt, and then he pans up to me and he goes, say something about the Packers. And I'm so fucking drunk. I'm like this. You say about Packers? That was it. And then he sent that to the whole group, and he goes, current state of affairs down here. Yeah, I'm going to keep going through them. I'm going to find more and more of the old shenanigans.
You being blasted reminds me of the White Russians.
Oh my God. We haven't told that story either.
Dude,
that's a good one.
we gotta tell that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was so much happened there.
Yeah.
But for me, my POV is I was not really down to clown going out or anything.
Oh, this night was crazy.
This night was
I
nuts.
forgot how many things happened this night.
There's a bunch of stuff happened, but we're at the hotel bar, and Kenny's like out of 32 White Russians deep.
Yeah, they call me the dude, you know.
And then it's like midnight, and for some reason, old John Jenny and Mikey and old Greg are like, let's go to a club or something like that.
They're going to karaoke.
I was like, I'm not doing that. That sounds stupid. So Kenny and I go back up to the hotel room.
I think it was Mikey. He goes, yo, we're going to karaoke. And I try to stand up. I was never going to go, but he goes, you're not. You're going to go to bed.
Yeah. I was like, you're going to bed.
And there was like 5 of us sharing a hotel room.
Yeah.
So we
There's
go
4 of us.
1, 2, 3. I don't know. Whatever. There was several of us in there. So Kenny and I go back up to the hotel room. Kenny's passed out in the other bed. And I'm just like watching TV, right? Click through. It's like 1 o'clock. I fall asleep. Remote still in my hand. Very important part of the story. I fall asleep like this. I wake up to an unknown woman about this far away from my face. And she gently takes the remote from me and goes, go back to sleep.
And you did. And you did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some fucking caretaker, dude. I could have been murdered already. And he went back to sleep.
Kenny's organs were on ice. And Lucas was like, night.
Sounds good. I trust you.
Yeah.
That's an hour and a half. I know that it's Lucas's bedtime. It would be Mike's bedtime if he had a job tomorrow.
I thought the same thing.
Yes.
All right.